So now that we know what to look for when following someone, how do we actually find people to follow? And before getting into this, we need to do one small thing. We need to go to the list page. It might be visible right away on the left navigation here, or maybe it's hidden inside there. So do what you need to do to find it. And then let's create those lists. First list is going to be peers. It's the people who we're going to engage with to build relationship with over time. I suggest you make it private because people probably won't like to know which kind of list you put them in. And it's not really a list to curate content and share it with others. It's really a list for yourself and organize the people who you're going to engage with. So we don't need to do this at this stage. Now we have our first list. Let's do the second one. The second list to create is the list of big accounts. So again, these are the people in our niche with a lot of followers and a lot of engagement, and we're going to reply to them so our replies have a lot of visibility and get us more followers. Again, make it private. We don't need to do this. Okay, now you should actually pin these lists. So you click on this little icon here, and now they're very easy to access. Now let's add a couple people to it to show you the point of creating this list. I'm going back to my homepage. Okay, Igor, awesome. I'm gonna add it to my friends list or my peers list. Boom. Luca, let's add him as well. And now let's look for a couple big accounts. Okay, I already have some in my list. So Justin, let me add Justin to the list of big accounts. And also Andrea is perfect for this. Okay, and so what's the point of doing this? If you go to the list page now, you can simply open one of these two. So let's say I'm like in my routine and I need to engage 20 minutes with big accounts now. So I go to big accounts and boom, all I have is content from these people. I only see the people I need to engage with for this period of time. That's going to make it way easier to focus, build relationships, and actually be effective at engaging with people. And now let's go to the list of peers. Boom, I only see content that's relevant. I only see stuff from people I want to engage with. As you start adding more people to it, and the goal is going to be to add about 10 to 20 people in the big accounts and between 50 and 200 in the peers list, these feeds are going to stay relevant and stay interesting. I am in focus mode. I can just think of a reply, and they're all in the same kind of topics. And by doing this, I'm going to find better replies quickly. Now, let's compare this to the usual Twitter experience of the home feed. If I said that today I'm going to spend 20 minutes engaging with peers and 10 minutes engaging with big accounts, it's going to be confusing because, for example, Arvid would be considered a big account and Joe a peer. But I'm not going to know exactly how much time I spent because everything is mixed together in my home feed. And it's not even mentioning all the content that's unrelated. So, early on in the feed, it's people I follow. The more I scroll down, the more I see stuff that is not really related to the people I'm following. And for me, as someone who wants to engage and be focused, it's going to be very dangerous to go into this feed because then I'm just scattering my attention to things that are not going to matter in helping me build relationships. So now that we built our list, how do we find people to follow? The first thing I recommend you do is to go to the topics page. So you go here, topics, and then you look for the topic that you are targeting. I'm targeting startups, so I'm going to go there. And here I see usually content with a lot of engagement, obviously because it's trending content. And that's usually a very good starting point to find big accounts to follow. Not bad. Maybe I want to follow this person so I can check their account. And I can see, okay, it's not a big account, but it has, some interesting tweets. It has some engagement. And that's how you can very quickly find people to follow at the beginning when you don't know much people in your industry. Now, a second thing you need to focus on is the big accounts in your industry. So I would go in this page and look for one tweet with a lot of engagement. So a couple hundred here. Okay, and eventually you can find someone who has a tweet that inspires you and he has a lot of likes. So for example, I'm going to find this tweet that I find interesting. So I click on that and see, the profile of Andrew. And okay, I see he has a ton of followers. So that's a huge account. I check his profile. Okay, lots of likes, lots of engagement everywhere. And these tweets are pretty inspiring to me. So in that case, I just go there and I add them to my list of big accounts. Then I click big account, boom, this person is added to my list of accounts. Now, once you found a bunch of people to follow by looking at the topics page, what you can do to go further is look at recommended follows. So let's say you just followed Andrew and then you scroll a bit down the page and you're going to see who to follow. Then what I do is I click on show more, and the first part of this page is going to be similar accounts. And Twitter does a pretty good job at showing you accounts that have the same type of content and same quality. And when you look at this page, you see lots of accounts that are worth following. So, what I do is I check their profile, see if I'm interested, and if I am, I follow them. Then I go to the next person and I look at similar accounts for this person. It's a very efficient way to find people who inspire you because since you start by content you're inspired with, the algorithm is going to automatically recommend you people who are related. So that way, by doing this for a couple hours, you can find probably a couple hundred people that are worthy of your time. Now, a second part of this page is going to be suggested for you. And this is unrelated to the person I'm looking at right now. It's just general recommendations of Twitter based on who I interact with and who I follow. Now, I can see very high quality recommendations for me right now because it's people I already seen a couple times. I kind of like their content, so I could potentially follow them. So it's very good work from Twitter that these are very good recommendations. Now, the reason why these recommendations are good is because I did unfollow all the people who don't inspire me. As I told you, I'm pretty ruthless when it comes to unfollowing, so that I only keep people who inspire me on my Twitter and in my feed. So because of this, Twitter only has the data of people I really care about to give me suggestions. But if you're still following random sports page, people from high school and things that are unrelated to your niche, your list of suggestions are going to be way lower quality and you're not going to find as good persons to follow. So again, that's one more reason to unfollow or mute and not interact with people you're not interested in or not in your niche so that you have high quality recommendations and easily find people to follow. Now, one last thing you can do to find people to follow is once you have somebody who inspires you, so let's go back here to Andrew. Then you look at who they are following. So he's following way too many people in my opinion, but it doesn't really matter because Twitter does a good job at reordering the list of people he's following to show me the most relevant first. All of these people here, I already seen them at least once or twice on Twitter. So I know they have good quality content. I know, they're interesting and I could potentially follow them. Once you found a couple accounts you're really inspired by, look at who they are following. And it's going to very quickly help you find people to add to your list. Now, remember, the goal is to find between 10 and 20 people in the list of big accounts to follow and between 50 and 200 people in the list of peers to follow. As you start engaging with people using your list, you might stumble upon a problem. And the main problem is it's showing me by most recent first. So the thing that happens is I'm going to see a tweet from Vikram, Yannick, Vikram, Victor, Yannick again, and then I'm going to see a bunch of different people, then Yannick again. And the problem with this is that my goal is to engage with, let's say, 20 people today. But if I only see the most recent, I'm only going to see the tweets of people who tweeted recently. So for example, someone who tweets in a different time zone. So he tweeted, let's say 15 hours ago, or he only tweets once a day. Then I'm going to have a very hard time getting to his content and engaging with him. So I'm not going to be able to build a relationship. So that's why I suggest you use a different tool for this, which is called Engagement Builder. Now, this tool is very neat because you can import your list like I did here. I imported the exact same list, but as you can see, it's not showing me the same tweets. Because Engagement Builders actually does two things that are very interesting. It's limiting the number of tweets per user. So you make sure there's not one guy who tweets 100 times a day that is taking over your timeline, and you can instead engage with everyone equally. And if people are like, tweeting long time ago, what you can do is you can, instead of using this part, you can just simply switch to the person that you want to see. So for example, every morning you go there and you click, okay, I'm going to interact with this guy. Boom, you find a tweet that's interesting from them and you reply. Then this guy, and then you make sure that every day you go through as many people from your list as possible. Instead of interacting 10 times with the same person, you interact one time with 10 people. So it's going to be way easier to build relationships and keep your momentum going.